Welcome to Anything New. My name is Pete, and as always, I'm here with Matt
What's up?
and Opie.
Hello, hello.
Anything New is the live stream where we talk about anything new we've been using, perusing, or consuming. This is episode 52. Ray Lewis. He's a straight killer on the football field, guys. On the football field. It's a beautiful Sunday evening here in Ohio, and Matt's representing Tennessee, and Opie's representing Kentucky. So we got the whole Midwest kind of locked down. A little bit of the South, too. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Some news. I know we all got a little bit of articles we're going to kind of mention here. We got some G.I. Joe we're going to talk about. Hugh Jackman makes a little appearance. So let's jump right into the news. I'm going to go first. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about Quake. I know it's been a while.
Taking it old school.
Did you guys play Quake back in the day on the PC?
Yes.
Barely, I think.
There was my first online gaming experience or a multiplayer gaming experience with Quake. There used to be a site called heat.net.
Oh yeah.
And it was one of the first multiplayer sites.
Dude, I've not heard that name in forever.
And it was like huge at the time that it came out. And I remember I was in college, and one of my later to be roommates, he had the computer set up. One of the first guys that got me into gaming anyway, and his machine, he got on heat.net, and we played Quake. And all I remember is spawning in and dying over. You could spawn camp.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing, there was no regulations, no cheating, no rules.
Sure. They
didn't
know yet, they didn't know what rules should kind of be.
But that was Quake. I don't think Quake and Doom, I don't think I ever remember playing the story. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Did anybody ever play?
I don't think anybody did. I don't think I knew that there was a story to Quake.
And then we also,
I mean, it's pretty much just run around and shoot things. There wasn't really much of a
Quake,
story.
Doom, Duke Nukem, and then we talked about Shadow Warrior that time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then you had Unreal Tournament.
Unreal.
Yeah.
But like those were the great LAN
Wolfenstein
games. Wolfenstein, and then of course, we would always LAN up and play X-Wing versus TIE Fighter was great. On the LAN PvP. Of course, nothing ever got outside your LAN though. I mean, Quake was one of the first ones I ever experienced playing with somebody that wasn't there.
Yeah, but they're bringing this back. It's remastered. It's supposed to be like 4K, but it's going to look kind of like this. But
sure,
is this what it looks like right here?
I suppose so. I mean,
really?
it's not going to be like all new models and stuff.
Right.
But
Okay.
I guess it's just kind of like. Because if you
Probably
play it now, it's like on a
super
high frame rates. It's going to be like it would be like so it looks better, but I mean as good as they probably wanted to keep it looking original.
Can you see not guys older than me probably that spent hours in this back in the day, like breaking it back out, like
oh my god,
that probably couldn't do Fortnite and probably just couldn't do Modern Warfare, but they're like Quake is back.
Well, do you remember this was like the whole Trent Reznor, because Nine Inch Nails was so big, back then. And Trent Reznor did a video game soundtrack.
Yep.
Oh, he did.
It was just like it was like all like eerie music, and supposedly he's got his hands back in it too, like to kind of help remaster stuff and make things sound great. So
yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, Quake was one of those big box games too. You always saw Quake. I mean, it was a big box PC game that people had.
Well, how many there's Quake and Quake 2? How many Quakes have there been?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. I don't know.
Lots.
I doubt it. I don't know.
I'd say more than one and less than 10.
I mean, they probably just keep iterating on the same one.
But all right, series. Well, let's move on. Matt, you have a little topic you want to talk about for the news this week.
Yeah, there was a new trailer. I guess sort of the first. There was a trailer for The Eternals, Marvel's next big movie after Shang-Chi comes out in a couple weeks. But their next big movie after that in November is The Eternals. There was a smaller trailer about a month ago or so, and then just over the last few days, last Thursday or Friday, there was a new full trailer, almost 3-minute long trailer, kind of fleshing out a little bit more of the story, showcasing a little bit more of the Eternals' power, showing the bad guys, and yeah, this is it right here. And I try not to watch too many trailers, but I was like, well, I need a. I'm excited for the movie, but I wanted a little bit
Right.
more of a taste than the
Right.
first trailer gave us. So I watched this one, and I think it does a pretty good job, not really giving not too much away.
Okay.
And watching this one actually got me even more excited for the Eternals than I already was. I mean, I was already going to see it day one, guaranteed, but now I'm a little bit extra hyped for it.
And you've admitted, like being the comic book guy, this is not one of your areas of expertise, right?
Of all the Marvel stuff that they've made any kind of media for at all, the Eternals is the one I'm the least versed in. Like I know the basics, and that's it. I don't even know all the characters' names by heart yet. I know the main couple, but I know where they come from and sort of their backstory. But I'm definitely not well versed in. And I don't think very many people are, even in the comic book world. I don't think there's too many people who are diehard Eternals fans. But and a lot of people, of course, there's all this hate against the MCU now for whatever reason, and a lot of people are saying nobody asked for this and nobody wants the Eternals, nobody cares. Well, guess what? Nobody knew who Guardians of the Galaxy were in 2014, 2015.
Did they not? I mean,
no. The Muggles didn't know, and comic book fans, sort of in the same boat. We were like, well, we know Guardians of the Galaxy. There's been iterations of them over the years, but not very many people knew like the hardcore details. And then now look at them. There's 2 hit movies, another one coming. They got comics and all this stuff. So the Eternals, I think, like I said, nobody knew Guardians of the Galaxy. And that was great. Nobody knew the Eternals, and I think that's going to be cool too. So I'm really excited for it.
Awesome. Sounds great. Opie, what you got?
Well, if it hadn't been in the news lately, there is another He-Man Masters of the Universe series coming out on Netflix. I know we had just a huge deep dive in this just a couple of episodes ago, and it kind of, made some waves with the Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe Revelations. But this one is different. It's a little bit more geared towards a younger audience, which is cool. Now, some toy images had leaked about this pretty early on before the trailer ever came out, and I wasn't real happy about the way it looks, way the toys looked, the way He-Man looked, and all this stuff. Usually when they try to gear a franchise towards kids that wasn't really initially made for kids. Well, I guess Masters of the Universe was made for kids. That's what we watched back in the day. But this
was a toy commercial. I mean, it was definitely not made for adults. It was made for kids to say, "Hey, I want those toys."
But now those kids are adults, so whatever they're making now is usually geared for adults. But this is basically, it's got that Fortnite animation to it, kind of Clone Wars-ish looking animation. And if you watch the trailer for it, it's gonna have a little bit more of a comedic side to it, because geared, and basically He-Man is a teenager, Prince Adam is a teenager, and he's got a little crew that he's rolling with there, and they don't really say who they are. Like, you can tell who Man-at-Arms is going to be, and you can tell who there's an Orko in there. You'll see him in just a minute.
That's Tila right there with the white hair, I think.
Maybe, and of course Battle Cat is there, but he talks through the whole thing. But basically, when he calls on the power of Grayskull, they all get powers. So they all go like Super Saiyan, and
it's almost like Power Rangers, where they all
exactly
get right here, like they get armor.
Yeah,
which that's fine. I'm kind of down with that.
I was really impressed. I watched the trailer a couple of times just to kind of get a better feel for it. But yeah, they work together, and now Skeletor also starts off as Keldor, and he says Uncle Keldor too.
Yeah, which is how it's supposed to be, right? Keldor was King Randor's brother, right?
I think you're right. But I can't
remember. The backstory is the Trapjaw looks really cool in this too.
Yeah, Trapjaw, and then Beastman looks really cool too. I could pick those out. But yeah, so that's it looks cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I'm going to watch it. It comes out on September the 16th, but that was announced last week, and this trailer came out, and Matt kind of sent me some stuff about some of the haterade channels.
Oh man, the haters the hater channels are going crazy. Nobody wants this, and
on this one.
Yeah, well, the biggest reason is because one of the characters, Ram Man.
Yeah.
One of the characters is, I guess they gender swapped Ram Man, and her name is Ram Mam.
Okay.
And
It's
who
mayhem.
cares? It's fine. I mean, this is a whole different take. I mean,
Yeah.
if your biggest gripe with this is that Ram Man is a female, but yet you don't see how wildly different this is supposed to be, then you've got other problems. But I think I like what you said, that it's not for kids, but it's maybe aimed at a younger audience.
Yeah.
I showed this to my son. He doesn't know a thing he doesn't care about He-Man, but I was like, hey, just watch this and let me know what you think. He thought it looked pretty cool. He thought it kind of looked like Troll Hunters on
Okay.
Netflix, which he really likes. He's like, and it reminds me of Troll Hunters because in that show, I guess the kid gets an amulet or something that gives him not like powers, but it bulks, or it spruces him up a bit and makes him a little bit more special. And I'm gonna watch it. I think it looks.
I'm gonna watch it too. Definitely.
It's so wildly different. I'm just interested to see, like, wow, what really is this? What is this? What's the story behind this? I'm interested.
Rock and roll.
Nice. Awesome. Let's move on. Community watch time. So Matt had selected a movie for us called Reminiscence to watch this week, and it came out on Friday.
Yeah,
on HBO Max.
Yeah, 2 days ago. Yeah, Friday.
I just watched it this afternoon. So Matt, why don't you give us a little rundown on exactly what this was all about?
Yeah, so this is another one of those Warner Brothers movies that was released simultaneous theaters and streaming. Stars Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson. They were in The Greatest Showman together. Tandy Newton's in it. And basically, it takes place in the future. It's not like a super futuristic movie, but it takes place in the future. I guess there was some kind of war. Not really super post-apocalyptic, but it looks like the polar ice caps have melted because like everything's flooded, basically.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But that was just more the backdrop than anything else. But the whole movie is about, I guess, because life now isn't so great, that people want to relive their memories. They want to live in the past instead of looking towards the future. And he runs this shop basically where you can get in this tank and not just remember your memories, but literally relive them in your mind. You get in this tank and you put this thing on your head and like you can, relive a memories to the point where you can actually feel a person touching you, that kind of thing. Well, he meets this woman right here who comes in, needing help remembering where to find her car keys. And then, which is kind of it's like you would go through all this just to find your car keys. But that sort of snowballs into him and her forming a relationship. And then she goes missing. And, they sort of flash forward a little bit, several months later. He's like, she's been gone for months. I don't know where she went. So it basically becomes a mystery. Where did she go? What happened to her? And he has to sort of solve this mystery of where she went by using his own memories and the memories of other people that have met her. It's very film noir. I got that sort of feeling.
Absolutely.
This woman walked into my office. She had legs to her neck and that kind of thing.
Yeah, the narration of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what they were going for too. So but it's a mystery. Where did this woman go? And Hugh Jackman, has to, track down people, get their memories, sort of study clues and that kind of thing, to figure out what happened to her. And it was. I'll go ahead and just kick it off because I absolutely loved this movie. I thought it was fantastic. Like I was like 5 minutes in, I was just something about it just completely hooked me. I was into the mystery. I was into the technology of memories and I like the way that they utilized they would show somebody's memories, but because these memories were so real to people, they showed it to us, the viewer, as if they were real scenes from actual scenes from the movie.
Yeah.
So you would see like a man and a woman in a field, and it looks like just a regular movie scene, but then cut to a scene where they're coming out of a tank taking, that was somebody's memory. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like they overused that too much, but I was interested in sort of the back and forth storytelling of that. And
did you have a problem that the memories weren't third person or first person?
They explained that. Yeah, they explained that, and I thought the explanation for that wasn't super great. But they said something about if you really focus on your memories, you can get so immersed in it that you witness it.
Outside. I remember them saying that.
And I appreciate that they tried to explain that because I was thinking like, wait a minute, wouldn't you be seeing everything from the person's point of view? So I appreciate that they tried to explain it away. I thought it was a weak explanation, but it didn't take away from the movie for me at all. But yeah, I really liked it. I looked at the reviews on IMDb and they were average, and everybody's, oh, this isn't great, and we're in the era of nobody liking anything. But I thought it was fantastic. I would recommend it to anybody. It's just a good, solid mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, film noir, so it has that old film noir feel to it, but with new technology and things like that, and the way they use the technology to solve this mystery and all this backwards and forward stuff. I was into it from start to finish.
I liked it too. I had a little bit of a project to do. I was putting together an IKEA shelf for my little man cave here. So I was kind of like, well, I'm going to just start the movie while I'm putting it together, like in front of my chair, down there. And I'll just start it and see how it goes. Well, it was like 35 minutes in, and I'd put like 2 of those little screws into the. I was like, well, I'll probably just work on this a little bit later. I thought I would kind of like be working, but it was just like a movie where it pulls you in pretty quickly because you're learning all this stuff. And I love narration movies. I don't know what it is. I just do. Like, it's even Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Anything like where they're talking to me, I love it. Like, I just love that walk through the movie with somebody who's talking. Man, I tell you what, there was a scene that I thought was just incredible, and it was really unique where she used like the bad guy as the memory.
Yes.
And he thought she was talking to him, but she
Yeah.
was talking to Hugh Jackman.
She knew that what
May
he
was
gonna
talking
do.
to Hugh because she knew he would
She
go
knew
back
he would
and
somehow
see
get
it
his-
as
yeah.
a memory. And she's like, "You're here with me, aren't you?" And that bad guy's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
But Hugh Jackman then walks in and walks into the memory almost, and because he's seeing the memory, but she's looking at the bad guy, but knows that she's seeing Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
That scene, I mean, that was really well done. That was great writing. Like, the idea of that, to use that, was just phenomenal.
Yeah, when she started talking to the bad guy and she started like saying, something about, there was a woman in a white shack that helped me. The minute, she started, I was like, oh, she's leaving a message for him. She's not really talking to him. She's leaving a message for him instead.
You're right. Because why would she tell him that? Why would she do that? Yeah, that was awesome. So, good pick. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. The thing that really got me, and it was all well done, was the fact that like at the end, like he went up to his coworker there at the end and confessed to him like burning out or whatever, and like just knowing, like this is never going to happen. I don't know. Elon Musk could probably have we already have this in the works for us, but the fact that could you imagine like a computer being able to pull your memories out, like even for criminals or anything you've done in your life, they would be able to. It's
very Black Mirror.
Yeah,
it's like a Black Mirror episode. Well, but it was cool. That I like what you said, because that was basically, instead of him like writing his confession or recording a voice memo to give to the police, I'm going to tell it to you so that when they pull your memories, they'll see it.
Yeah. And what was his sentence? He got a reduced sentence, and was he just sentenced forever to live in that pool? Is that where he died? I mean, explain the ending.
I think he just kind of it just showed him at a later stage of life, but she had moved on, but he just didn't want to, and kind of kept going back through.
But was he dead in that
No.
pool? She put flowers there, and
I don't think so.
And the little girl said
he wasn't dead, but he was just. But they did explain. I thought they explained it a little bit, which I found a little bit hard to follow. But they did explain that if you keep revisiting the same memory over and over and over, and you hang on to it so tight, you can get lost or
burnt in. They call it burnt.
Yeah, burned in or something like that. And I think that's what happened to him. But I didn't quite understand what they were saying, so I guess a little bit of that was lost on me. But yeah, I didn't take it that he was dead, but I took it that he was like, I'm gonna live in my memories. But I was like, well, wait, but how does what about your body's still alive? Yeah, where does he go to the bathroom?
You just poop on your tub there?
Yeah. Does she come in and shave him and cut his hair and feed him and whatever? That was the only thing. But it it was still so good. I was like, I don't care. This is a great ending.
Yeah, sometimes they don't have to explain every little thing.
Right. Yeah, but it's going to be crazy. Like even with COVID and people staying inside all the time and just being plugged in, it's like sooner or later we're going to, like the movie Surrogate, the
The surrogates.
Surrogates, and even the Matrix or whatever. One day I guess we're just going to plug into and be in like Ready Player One or something, and we'll just be in the Oasis forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved the very, very ending. Like I almost teared up because in the middle of the movie, Rebecca Ferguson, she's like, tell me a story with a happy ending. And he said, well, a lot of stories don't have happy endings. She's like, well, then tell me one that, and stop it in the middle. And that's the way this movie ended. Yeah. Technically, it was in the middle of their story, but through the memory. I was like, wow, all that stuff blew my mind. I just thought it was so well done. Like they thought of everything. I'm sure, the people who really read into this stuff can find all kinds of plot holes and stuff. I just take stuff at face value, and that everything that they gave me was enough for me to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. It was just well done. I mean, because these movies, they can get like so convoluted and like what's going on, like, but they didn't. I mean, maybe a couple times, just like when you're kind of bobbing in and out of the memories, but it was a great movie. Bravo, Matt. We needed this one.
Thanks. Yeah,
we were on a little bit of a dry spell there. Yeah. We were in a hitter slump, I think, with really, really great ones. But
I kind of thought Shadow Warrior was, or not Shadow Warrior, but Dynasty Warrior was kind of good.
Well, I had blocked that from my memory. Speaking of memories,
we'll make you go back and revisit. That's what happens if you ever commit a crime. We'll make you revisit.
All right, let's move on.
It's kind of like that's what he did to the bad guy. He made him relive that memory of getting burned.
Yeah.
And now you're making me relive that memory of watching Dynasty Warriors.
And like he went when they were down under the water, he like kind of pulled him out from that piano. You know what I mean? Like he could have, and then the dude kicked him right in the chest. Like what?
Well, so let me say this real quick too, though. Like the whole thing with the I guess the world, they didn't really get out of the city, but the world, I guess it was, that was flooded and there had been some kind of war and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was cool. I thought they added a cool aesthetic to it, but I didn't think. I mean, you could have not had any of that in the movie, and still this would have been cool. Like this still could have been. It's set maybe 100 years in the future, or however long it would take to get this. It's set in the near future. Maybe the planet has gone to hell a little bit more, climate change or whatever. And I didn't think, the whole flooding, the whole bit with the flooding and everything didn't really need to be there.
Well, I think that they just wanted to show, well, I guess you could show a catastrophic war a lot of ways, but I think they were just trying to tell you that that going back in your memories was like a big deal, like a thing. The same way with Ready Player One did. It's like the world, we'd burned up all the resources and everything like that, and people wanted to live in the Oasis. It's that I think it was just their way of trying to show that.
I like the one scene. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just say they had to give a reason why everybody wanted to relive the past instead of looking towards the future. So
there was a cute little scene where he goes to that lady's house, who's living on the whatever they call it, like the plateaus or something, like where there was like a lot of land where all the super rich people were living. And he's like getting ready to leave, and he's walking back out, and like the sprinkler turns on and like starts watering the grass, and he just kind of looks at it and kind of like gives like a grin, like.
Whoa, I didn't even pick up on that.
They are just surrounded by this, but these rich people are still just using it as like a little resource to water their grass. You know what I mean? But they are like, their lives are like super impacted by water, but the rich people are just like, we're just using it for green our grass up.
I got that film noir feeling too when he went back to the rich lady's house and confronted the son. And it's like he had pieced it all together. It wasn't your dad that hired him; it was you, because you didn't
totally.
Because you didn't want to share the wealth, see, and there was that kind of thing, and that was, I was like, whoa, that's.
And he said like a little one-liner there that he had some sort of little smarky one-liner that was totally like could have been taken back from that. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, great movie. All right, it's time to move on. I'm going to do my pick. We're going to go to The Vault.
Ooh.
Okay, let me give you a little rundown on what The Vault is. So Looks like it was released March 26th of 2021.
Oh, really? I thought it was newer than that.
Well, that's what the Google says. Maybe that's just March 26th. It says when an engineer learns of a mysterious, impenetrable fortress hidden under the Bank of Spain, he joins a crew of master thieves who plan to steal the legendary lost treasure while the whole country watches the World Cup.
Ocean.
Opie,
Well, there you go.
Opie, World Cup. So you'll know if there's anything going on with soccer. You know, and it doesn't look right. You can tell us.
Ocean's 15.
Also, while people are watching the World Cup, Chris Pratt comes back to the future and says, "Hey, we need you guys to help us fight aliens."
Wow, what if they did that?
That'd be
Just
crazy.
kidding.
I
That
guess it
would
was
be
like
crazy.
a prequel to that or something.
Let's watch a little bit of the trailer here.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a Netflix trailer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that
so you have to
meme.
be careful.
I love that meme that James posted.
And I have a job over it. I want you to help me break into the most secure vault in the world.
Okay, very good.
Do you know who Francis Drake was? He stole the Spanish treasure.
And that's what's in the bag.
Untold wealth.
You probably need a safe cracker. I'm an engineer.
I need your mind. Where others see an impossible task, you might see a solution.
The war room.
Meet the team. Our computer with acquisition, planning, and extraction. Meet one of the world's brightest minds.
He's gonna mastermind the infiltration.
The vault, what it is, how it works, we can't work it out. No one has.
And if we get caught, we're going down for a very long time.
Are you sure you're prepared for that?
Are you?
Kid's got balls. The Bank of Spain, the most impenetrable building on the planet. Across the street is the headquarters of the Spanish army, on alert for any attempts on the bank. When Spain plays its World Cup games, every camera will be pointing away from the building, which gives us 105 minutes to get the job done.
All right. That's about half the trailer. So we'll stop it there so we don't find out if they succeed or not.
Right.
Because Netflix will show at the very last part of the trailer, they'll show them all sitting on an island, like sipping a Mai Tai. And, you know, they probably got away with
Dude,
it.
I want to say Netflix is coming out with an updated version of She's All That called He's All That, and it's literally just gender role reversal, you know, but it's the same concept. But it's, if you watch the trailer, is one of the worst examples of Netflix trailer. Like, it's literally the whole movie. They go just from start to finish all in 3 minutes.
Well, to their credit, maybe they think you've seen the first She's All That, and it's the same movie.
Well, sure. I mean, you know, I don't know how you can really differentiate it, but I mean, it's like, come on, save a little bit of something. I mean, but
Yeah,
yeah, dude,
that.
I'm a sucker for a good heist movie. You know,
Oh,
with
me too.
planning and. You know, I'm a dead sucker for laying out blueprints. Okay, you're going to be placed here, and the guards change shift here. And
why does the computer guy always got to be eating junk food or doing something?
Come on.
I mean, like with his hat backwards. I mean, come on.
One of the greatest lines that ever comes up in any movie is, "Let's meet the team."
Yeah,
like, you know, like, okay, let's do this. Let's see the explosives guy. Let's see the thief. Let's see the safe cracker. There's always those guys. Love those kind of movies.
And and everybody only has one specialization. That's it. I am only the getaway driver.
Right,
I am not anything else. I am only the explosives expert. I'm not anything else.
I can plant the bomb, but I can't drive a car.
Right.
Do you remember The Italian Job? Did you guys like that movie?
I like that movie.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, with the Mini Coopers.
Yeah, that came out like that was like when I first got an HD TV for the first time, and it was like one of those like rear projection HD TVs, so it took up like half the living room.
Yep.
But man, I remember like watching that on like HD Net or like one of those like weird like, you know, where it's like all HD all the time channels that was on cable you had to subscribe to separately, you know. And they played Italian Job on there. And that's like one of the first movies I saw in HD, and I was just like blown away by the little Mini Coopers riding through.
That was a remake of an older movie, from like the 60s or 70s, and
awesome.
Yeah,
So we're gonna watch that, and we'll talk about it next week. Opie, did you want to talk about, or is this Matt? Who's got the snake eyes?
Oh, that was me.
Oh, I haven't seen
I kind of figured it was Opie, but
no, it was me.
Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins.
Yeah, so you guys know they had a couple of G.I. Joe movies 10 years ago or so, 10 or 12 years ago. And the first one wasn't great. The second one was okay. But, you know, they there's a new movie, Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. I think it's meant to like sort of reboot the whole thing, but they want to start with Snake Eyes. So it focuses mainly on Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and I'm using their names for it. They don't really go too much into that, but Scarlet and the Baroness are in this as well. They do mention Cobra, they do mention G.I. Joe, but it's basically just focus on Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. And Henry Golding is Snake Eyes, and this is his origin. So he's still talking. He talks, and he doesn't wear the thing and that kind of stuff. Anyway, I was like, okay, Snake Eyes is my favorite. He's everybody's favorite GI Joe. I'll watch a movie all about him. Oh, he's talking. He's not supposed to. That's okay because it's his origin. I know what I'm getting into. And going into this, all the hater channels were hating all over this. So I figured, okay, if they're hating it, it's probably pretty good because when they hate stuff, it's kind of like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, I didn't think this was great. I didn't think this was good at all. Like I thought it was pretty bad. I know some people like it okay, but it just didn't feel like Snake Eyes. Like it would have been a better movie if it had just been martial arts movie part 1, or whatever. But it didn't feel like Snake Eyes at all. Snake Eyes, he didn't even meet Storm Shadow and go to the Arashikage clan until he was an adult. Which means he didn't have any kind of like ninja training until he was an adult and went there. But he grew up on the streets, so he knew how to handle himself. But he didn't have any special training, military training, ninja training, weapons training, anything like that. Well, I don't know what to say about it. I mean, it just didn't feel like Snake Eyes. And he, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'll go ahead and say because you wouldn't be too upset, I don't think. He didn't even get like the classic like Snake Eyes helmet and everything till the very last scene. Which it felt like this is the first part of a 2-part Snake Eyes origin, and maybe at the end of the second one, maybe that's when he takes his vow of silence, or however they make him not talk, and that's when he wears the thing all the time. So it feels like there needs to be another one of these. It felt like this is like the origin of his origin or something like that. Like this is way early, and that would have been okay if they had used like an actor like in his early 20s or something. But like he's already, I'm not saying he's old, but like he's an adult. He's like a full-grown adult male. And I just felt like it's too late to be learning how to be like, the world's best ninja or whatever the Snake Eyes is supposed to be. It just didn't feel like him at all. And, he was kind of the bad guy throughout the whole thing because he, Storm Shadow was actually pretty honorable throughout the whole thing. And Snake Eyes was like, I don't want to say betrayed him, but like betrayed his trust at least twice in the movie, if not 3 times. Trying because he was doing whatever he had to do in the movie to find his father's killer, and what that meant was working with his head of the Yakuza, who was actually working for Cobra. And they wanted him to steal this mythical stone. So there was a big MacGuffin in there too. All of a sudden there's this mythical stone that if you hold it, you can just make people explode or whatever. And and Storm Shadow, saved him from the Yakuza, brought him into the clan, into the Arashikage clan. They welcomed him in. He passed the test. He joined the clan. And then Snake Eyes goes and betrays his trust, and it just felt so wrong. Like I didn't like Snake Eyes throughout most of the movie because he just was he was doing it for honorable reasons, but he was doing so much bad stuff to people who were trying to help him. I was really bummed because I was really looking forward to enjoying this movie. And I just thought it misfired all over the place. I just didn't think it was good at all. I didn't think the fight scenes were particularly very great. It wasn't a lot of like super well choreographed martial arts. It was just like a bunch of this with swords and clang, 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 clang. But it didn't feel like there was a bunch of like super choreographed anything. I was just really disappointed. I mean, if there's people out there who like it, I'm glad that they do, and I hope that they make more of these that improve. But it just wasn't for me. I was just disappointed.
So did it show like when he like became like kind of got like recruited? Like how does that work? Like when he actually becomes, like a part of the team. Like how does that
Well,
happen?
he didn't join the Joes in this one.
Okay.
At
At
the
the end, it's not
end,
like one of like the sergeant dude shows up on like the big
no,
aircraft
I was hoping there
carrier
would be like
and
at
like
the
come
end.
on
Oh, hey, look,
aboard.
there's I was hoping at the end there's hey, there's Duke and he's gonna welcome.
Yeah,
None of
Duke.
that. So Scarlett was in it, and she was already part of the Joes.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end, there was a passing comment. He's like, "So you think I could join the Joes?" And she's like, "Yeah,
Mm.
maybe one day. I think maybe you would make a good operative one day or something."
Uh,
But he was still on the mission to go. What was he gonna go do? Oh, he was gonna go take on Cobra, I think, because they were the ones who gave the order to kill his father.
Mm.
And at the very end, the woman who was the head of the Rashkagi clan, she said this might help you, and gave him his suit and the helmet and all that stuff. And I was like, the whole movie, I was like, well, I wonder what's going to happen to make him not ever talk again. And that never even came up. I was like, oh, maybe he'll get like his throat cut and it injures his vocal cords. That never happened. So
maybe Dan or somebody else, but I don't know the real origin. But from the origin of him, like in the comics or the cartoon, wasn't he like hurt or something? That's why he can't talk.
I think so.
Okay.
or
Yeah,
just
and
had
that's
his
why I was
feelings
waiting
hurt,
for.
maybe.
Well, I was
Yeah.
waiting for some kind of injury because
Okay.
there was a big battle at the end. I was like, oh, the bad guy's gonna like barely stab him in the throat, maybe. But that
Yeah.
never happened. Nothing like that.
Okay.
So I was really disappointed. Like I wouldn't recommend it to GI Joe fans. Like I was really bummed.
Well, I mean, they all can't be home runs.
They
I
can't.
guess.
You know?
But the bad thing is they probably aren't going to make any more because obviously COVID, and I think this was a simultaneous release, or maybe it was. No, I don't think it was a simultaneous release home theater, but it came out digitally pretty soon after theaters. So with that and with COVID, it didn't do very well at the box office. The reviews are bad. I don't see them making another one, which is a bummer because I was excited for a whole new rebooted GI Joe franchise, and I don't know that we're gonna get it now. So
Yeah, that sucks that they can't take something like GI Joe and make it better than what it was. Or
I don't see how can you, how is it so hard to make a good GI Joe movie? It's like there's a whole bunch of great characters and they all have their specializations, and put them against the bad guys. Or I mean, you could do it sort of Avengers style. I think there's enough there to maybe like Snake Eyes gets his own movie. Maybe you give a few like Duke and Scarlet. Maybe you get a small group of GI Joes and eventually bring them all together. I think you could do it that way, but
Yeah.
I was bummed out. I was like,
Yeah.
as soon as I was done, I was like, oh man, there's not going to be any more of these. Probably.
Yeah,
Anything
Dan-
new super fan agrees. Dan, he says couldn't even finish it.
Yeah, it was. I wanted to make it to the end because I wanted to see him get the suit and see what happens to make him not talk. So that's the only reason. That's the only thing that was pushing me to the end. But man, and it was one of those things too where the bad guy gets the MacGuffin, and he's just like he just has all he has to do is think about people exploding and they burst into flames, right? So he's unbeatable. But when it comes time for him to face off against Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes and Scarlet and the other few people there, it just reverts to martial arts. Like, if you really want to defeat them, bad guy, then why don't you just make them explode like you made all the other guys explode? It's one of those nonsensical things that all movies do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. We're about 40 minutes into this, so we should have time to get through all of our pickups and get out of here at a reasonable hour. Start our week off next week. You guys got big plans next week? Anything monstrous coming up?
School.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, me either. Nothing too big. All right, who wants to go first for the pickups?
You can go.
All right,
first. You're first on the call sheet.
I will go first. Okay, so first thing I want to throw out there is the part 2 of my Pink Gorilla pickups because I had so much stuff to talk about last week. So I had a few carryover that needed just a little bit of time. They're just such great games that probably, I haven't played them, but they look cool, so that's why. But let's see. Start off. This is one of the Japanese imports that I picked up at.
Make yourself big.
This is a Ni no Kuni.
The original?
Well, this isn't. This is one that's called like an all-in-one.
Oh,
So I think it's probably like maybe it has like maybe it's the Nino Kuni for PS3 with like maybe like some of the added stuff that maybe that they put in there. I'm not quite sure because I can't read. I don't know what those words are there, but I'm assuming that's probably what it is. But
I like the cover.
yeah, it looks cool.
you can hold your phone over it and use Google Translate, and it'll translate stuff through your camera.
Oh, really?
I've done that before. My brother, when he was living in Japan, he sent a bunch of they would send my kids a bunch of like candy packages, like care packages on their birthdays and stuff with all these, Japan has every flavor of Kit Kat known to man. Like you can get the crazy like strawberry sprinkled Kit Kats or whatever. Yeah. But there was this one, I think it was a Super Mario Brother themed like jelly, like gummies that you made yourself. Like you would just pour a couple of things in there, and I had to Google translate the instructions to figure out how to make them. So I just downloaded Google Translate and then took a picture of it, and it translated it.
Nice.
So this is a Vita game that I picked up. This one is called, I apologize if I mess this up, but it's Legend of Heroes Sin no Kaseki to Kai.
I think you got it. Yeah.
Now listen. So all these, like when I'm standing there looking at all these titles, and they all look like, they all look like this, and so I kind of like, I would just bring up my phone and kind of like make sure I'm not getting like some sort of like just a brawler. Like I don't want to get the same game, but just different ones. You know what I mean? Like, so I kind of like just Google them and just make sure that the genre looks like something that I would play. Or because on the Vita, like it's region free, so I can throw it straight in the Vita and just rock and roll. So let me show you. I got a little.
The only thing is navigating through the menus, though. Like, are you able to do that?
I think you can change it to English.
Ooh.
Let me show you this here. That's what this looks like. Let's get to a little action.
I was gonna say it's super action packed.
I thought that was an action scene. Typical JRPG fashion.
Oh,
it's 30 minutes of chit chat.
Okay.
Well, there you go. I mean, you get cat.
What's the combat like? Is it turn-based or?
Let me see if I can. It's too late to share the audio since I already started it, but I thought it was right here where they show the combat. Here you go.
Ooh.
Boy, I hope you can change those menus to English. Otherwise, you never know what you're doing.
I would never know.
Okay, so it looks like it looks turn-based, which isn't a bad thing. I don't love turn-based as much as I used to.
Okay, so that's that one. And I got one more here.
Though.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. This other one, it's a little bit more actiony. This one is called. So it's a PS Vita game. And I think this one actually has like a direct.
Orochi? I've heard of that.
Yeah,
Orochi
direct, 3? Maybe like an English version of this one. This is Orochi 3 Ultimate.
How's it got a 2 on there?
Orochi 2 Ultimate.
I think I've heard of that.
Let's see. But this looks pretty neat. Let's do share audio on this one too.
Oh no!
Like a Dynasty Warriors style game,
Oh no!
Which I'm fine with. I don't mind these kind of games.
Okay. I like it. You triggered Matt.
I just
It's got to be better
It's
than
fine.
the movie.
well, yeah, you're not
That
wrong.
looks cool.
Oh, there's like a cleric. Did you see that dude? Maybe they're showing like all the different classes here. Look at this guy. Maybe
Yeah.
some sort of like druid or something. I don't know what he's got going on. Like some.
Ooh.
Okay, and then you got the, femme fatale.
I hate
Love how they stay up in the air
I hate everything about that.
like the movie.
I mean, I know a lot of people. That's fine. There's something about. I just hate the way you can knock 10 guys up in the air. They're all laying the same way, and I don't know. It's just not for me. But
See, Dan
But
says
it's cool, though.
Orochi's good. So if
Okay.
Dan says it's good,
Well, I
believe
guess I
it.
was wrong.
So the other pickup that I have is I got this just this week, and I was in there's a store, Opie, in Florence, Kentucky, a really nice retro game store called Retro Game Store.
Nope.
It's really good. They have a ton of stuff. And like I usually buy like all the cheap stuff. If it's like $1 or $2, whatever, I'll kind of just pick it up to add to the collection. But sometimes I see something that just looks so nice. I'm like, I'm gonna spend a little extra money and get that because it's just so clean and looks so good. And even if it is like right at retail price, if you want it, you want it, So
Yeah.
So here's what I got. Check this out. Mortal Kombat 2 on Super Nintendo in like this nice case.
In the box?
It's in the box, got everything in it. They pulled everything out for me to show me, like the warranty card, all the posters. Super nice guy, he even pulled up what should be in it to make sure that everything that's supposed to be in it was in it. So it's got like a couple like little posters and the manual and then like a warranty card. But I mean, it's in such great shape.
Yeah, it looks like it's brand new.
It looks really, really good. So I was like, you know what? Sometimes you gotta treat yourself.
Yeah.
So I love that game, even though I had it on Sega Genesis because
I
it
did
had
too.
blood,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my last pickup. But I do want to go into story time just real quick. So I told Opie the story. I'll try and give the quick version, but it's just something that was kind of cool. And so I played a lot of paintball whenever I was young, like probably 18 to 24. Every weekend, pretty much, I was playing like tournament paintball around the country. And that's so I played on these teams. Pretty much, there was a magazine back in the day called Paint, P8NT. And they traveled around to all the paintball tournaments and they would take all these awesome photos and they would sell them. And you just go to the store. Like I would go to Walmart or Kroger and buy Paint magazine. And I was never in them, but sometimes my team would be in them. There'd be various photos of the tournaments and stuff. And it was just like so cool. Everybody loved it back then. They had a Kickstarter like a year and a half ago for this big coffee table book, hardbound. It's so nice. I mean, just the quality of this thing is just incredible. Yeah, there's Lost Reels.
Okay.
So it's like a bunch of photos that had never been seen before. All this stuff is just, and their niche thing was they would do black and white photos, like really just high quality black and white photos.
Why would you want black and white photos with
They were
paintball?
artsy. They were artsy.
But paintball's all about like color and stuff, right?
No. The colors are irrelevant.
No, I know.
No, the colors are irrelevant. But so this is the book. They did a Kickstarter. They named it Famous. There's a trailer for it. I won't bring it up because it'll take a while. But long story short, everybody in the paintball community just seemed like they were talking about this book, right? It's just like you kind of see like what's going on here. It's just really nice images of the tournament paintball scene from like the late 90s into the early 2000s, which was like my heyday.
Yeah.
So like I get this book, right? I'm like, oh, this is just so cool. I'm just like flipping through it, like just like, oh, reliving so many old memories. Like this is just so neat. All this stuff, right? And then I'm like flipping through, and then I get to like chapter 1, like part 1. It says heroes, and there's like a little quote that every sport has its heroes. All these like cool photos. So I'm just flipping through like a couple pages past that, like right after Steve Toohey Barber, who's just like a legend in paintball. There's a photo right here, guys. That is your boy. That is me. immortalized forever in this paintball magazine.
I don't remember you signing consent to use your likeness. I hope they give you royalties for that.
So I took the picture and I blew it up here so that you guys could see it here. Let me see if I can do this. Stand by. But this should work. All right. So this is me. So that's the image, and then the little caption at the bottom: James Pedro Ledford. That's like what my little nickname was when I was young. Zero tolerance, MPPL
How do you know
Chicago.
that that's you, though? Well,
how do I know that is me? I mean, that is my gun. You see that gun right back over there? That's an autococker.
I guess
that's an autococker. Those are my goggles. That's my beanie. I mean, that's our team jerseys with the Foxwood camo.
Okay. Well, I guess what I meant was, like, if it had been me, because you said this was a long time ago, 1998. I don't know that I would have recognized that it was me.
I wouldn't.
Because I can't see. I was like, well, that kind of looks like the helmet I used to have, but everybody had that helmet, so I can't really tell.
But yeah, so that was it.
It's got your name, so
yeah. I mean, they don't lie. So that was it. It was really cool.
You are famous.
I'm famous.
Yeah, because you're in a book called. You're famous because of a book called Famous.
Exactly. That's
pretty cool.
But you know what? I'm still just an average guy.
Did any of your old paintball buddies shout out to you? Did they notice it before?
Well, as soon as I got the book, I started looking through it. So I kind of messaged them. I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's a picture of me in there. And they're like, what? And like one of the guys like, I get mine later today. And so there was a little bit of chatter about it, but it was really cool. I mean, I never played at like such a high level and won anything like world championships or anything like that. But so just to kind of like be even mentioned, it's so cliche, just to be mentioned with all these great paintball greats is just an honor.
That reminds me of when I drew a picture of Donatello the Ninja Turtle, and they published it in the back of one of the Ninja Turtles comics.
That is exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. So yeah, that's my pickups.
That's cool. I appreciate a good coffee table book.
I do too.
Yeah.
So next time when you guys come, you can kind of flip through this, and maybe I'll have some glossy 8x10s made and sign them, and you guys can go home.
I will buy one.
I'll sell it on eBay for twice as much as I pay for it.
Ooh, good idea. Or sell lottery chances with the opportunity to buy them. That's what you go. All right, Matt's pickups. Let's move on. That's enough about me. That's enough about me.
I went to Target today. And I picked up a couple things. I picked up 4 things from Target, and I've got one other thing too. So
funny, I didn't get any text messages from you at Target. Like, is there anything that you need, or do they have anything in stock?
Well, they barely had anything except for they had 2 Marvel Legends. That was it. Like 2. One was up here, one was down here, and that's it. One of them was the old stealth armor Iron Man.
Yeah.
Which I've been looking for. I had pre-ordered on Amazon, so I was able to cancel that pre-order. And the only other Marvel Legend they had was the freaking modular.
The one that I showed you?
Yeah, the one you showed me that I had that pre-order from Amazon too. These both were not going to be here till October, so I was able to cancel those orders, and I got those. The only Marvel Legends in the whole store were the only two that I wanted from that line. So that was pretty cool. On an impulse, because
Ultron's on that line. If you find Ultron, you want him, don't you?
Yeah, you're right. I do want him. And then impulse buy, because it was like sort of laying, like it had almost kind of fallen down in the shelf in the back right underneath these guys, was the Super 7 Transformers Optimus Prime.
Oh, those reaction lines.
The little reaction figures.
Those are awesome.
Yeah. I don't really want to collect all these, but I just thought the Optimus Prime one was really cool, and
it
the
was
box
really
is
cool.
real nice. And
did you find that in the toy aisle, or was it in electronics?
It was in the toy aisle, but I think it was supposed to be in electronics.
Okay.
The only reason I got it is because it was like this was hanging up, and then this was kind of like just sort of tucked down in the
those are
shelf
awesome.
behind it.
They've got a second wave out of those.
But I did go back to the electronics section to see what they had, and I found something I've never seen before, and I couldn't not get it. It's a Stan Lee Mego figure. Yep. I don't think it's Mego brand, but it looks like it. It looks like the old Megos, but it's Stan Lee. I it's weird to say, but I collect Stan Lee stuff, so I had to get that as well.
That's awesome. Card's crispy too.
Yeah. So I'll probably leave that all. And then last thing my sister got me. Lego Infinity Gauntlet.
Nice.
Ooh.
Now it's not big, like you can put your hand up in there. It's it's only a foot tall. From base to top, it's
Yeah.
a foot tall.
Yep.
But yeah.
I like that.
Yep, that's pretty cool. So I can't wait to. Oh, and it's flexible enough you can do the snap.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm gonna do the old TikTok. Put it together at some point. Yep, that's it.
All right, Opie, what you got?
Oh, I just got one thing, and I put it on TikTok that I got it. So if you follow me, you've seen it.
Yes.
It's the
I love that TikTok, by the way.
It's
that was
the
a hilarious
it's
video.
the last Star Wars VHS that I got, and of the original trilogy in the old school packaging. The one thing that I kind of did a little bit of research about it, and I'm kind of disappointed. This is not like from the 70s or 80s. This is from, I guess, Walmart re-released. These are re-released in the 90s, so it's still in the 90s. There's an old Walmart label sticker on there, and you can tell it's got a date. But I looked 1995, so I don't remember seeing these. I only remember seeing the ones with right there.
But that's not the remaster, right? Or
No, this is the original. But see, they
theatrical version?
recovered when they put the trilogy out in the box set, like everybody had. Remember in the 90s with you see it right here with Yoda, the Darth Vader, and the Stormtrooper.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ones I always remember seeing. But apparently these were resold in the 90s too, which is it looks like the old one. But the other two that I got, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, that matches this Fox Video box. I don't know if those are 90s or older, but these were this Fox Video was like this, and I think Columbia House. Oh man, I had to research that because I'd like to have the Columbia House ones too. But like when you bought videos in the 80s like this, they were that's the boxes they came in. So yeah, that was okay. I was happy to do it, and I was glad to put it in my collection because now it's got its little place.
Yep.
Well,
let me ask you about that. Let me ask you a little bit about your TikTok. And I noticed, what kind of monster puts his videos from right to left in order of, like, who puts Star Wars on the right and then Empire Strikes Back to the left of that? I watched that TikTok and I was like, oh, that's great. And I loved how you followed it with your phone. I was like, oh, he's going to put it on the shelf. Wait a minute. Why is he putting it on the right?
I think, let me tell you a reason. This shelf that it's on is pretty crammed, and I was going to put it in the right order, but when it was holding the phone in one hand, like I tried that, and the movies kept going together, so I had to like make it a space on the end so I could slide it in for sake of the TikTok.
I saw that. I was like, that is just like I didn't sleep that night.
Oh,
it felt awful.
Sugar! I rearranged my whole. Like I recorded myself rearranging this whole shelf from top to bottom, so I would have room to do that TikTok.
The things we do for content.
Because I had them all like double stacked in front of each other and just kind of sitting up there. But I rearranged all these shelves so I'd have like one shelf for the Lord of the Rings and the Star Wars collection I've got there going there right there.
Dude,
that's right, John Dub. J-Dub said you manga and stuff left to right.
Right, but it's not doesn't have anything to do with the manga or
we don't live in Japan.
That is a very good TikTok. It's just too bad it wasn't on the Anything New TikTok account. That would make it even better, but you know.
Would have gotten all the follows. Dude, I've recorded like 2 or 3 TikToks in a row for the purpose of spreading them out over a day or two, and I've changed shirts in between them. So the things we do for
guys,
influencers.
TikToks are a lot of work. I mean, they are. I tried to make another viral TikTok the other day, and I had like 2 tripods and like lighting and all kinds of stuff. I was like, this is hard.
Well, that's because we're old. If we were, the youths, the millennials, they would just flow out of us like water. But old guys on TikTok,
I'm just trying to pull a record out of a sleeve and put it in a different one, and stuff was dropping on the floor. I was like having to go through it and like double take, like rehearse it as I went through, and to see. I do a walkthrough to see if this would actually work, and then put everything back the way it was.
Yeah. I read my comic book, when I do my history of Marvel, I read through the notes that I make to see if I can hit it in a minute or less before I actually record it. I'm like, that took a minute and 4 seconds. I better trim some words out,
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
I don't know.
The things us old guys do for TikTok.
Get better.
All right, we just crossed the 1 hour mark, so I think we should probably wrap it up there. Watch The Vault for next week.
Yep.
And we'll hit the social medias real quick. We're on Twitter at Anything Newcast. Our Gmail is anythingnewpodcast@gmail.com. We are on TikTok also. We're trying to get these guys to share some of their awesome creativity onto our actual Anything New TikTok account. I don't
know how creative sitting in front of my phone talking about a comic book for 1 minute is, but
I think they kind of want to branch off. They're like the Beatles. You can't keep us together for too long. They got side projects. Ringo wants to go off and do his own thing. Instagram, Anything New Podcast, and on YouTube where you can watch us stream. It's a bit.ly link, Anything New YT, and on Discord, it's a bit.ly link, Anything New Discord 1. You can see us banter on about all kinds of crazy stuff and talk about all kinds of weirdness. But that's about it. You guys got anything else you want to add before we wrap up episode 52?
Nope, that's it.
All right, we'll catch you guys next week for episode 53.